Hi everyone, it's Alan Schimmel, DevOps.com, DevOps TV, and we're here live on the expo floor at Jenkins World 2017. Actually, I'm lucky to have two people join us right now. To my immediate left is Michael Huettermann from Cloudbees over in Germany. And Michael is a DevOps consultant for Cloudbees, working with companies helping their transformation and obviously journey with continuous integration, continuous delivery as well. And to my far left is no stranger to most of the DevOps community, Eric Long, right? Eric is a key person at Cloudbees. He's also a bit of a community liaison, working with the local meetup groups and DevOps days and stuff like that, volunteering a lot of his time to help the DevOps community kind of do its thing. So guys, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. So Michael, you're the new guy on the block. I understand you just joined Cloudbees in July.
In July.
2 months now. So what's your, is this your first Jenkins World?
It's my fourth Jenkins World. I attended and gave a presentation at the very first one.
Really?
I think it was 4 years ago. Or 5 years, 3 years.
Oh wow,
I think 4 years. And it's a bit different. So compared to that, it's so we had maybe 200 attendees back then, and now it's wow,
a little bigger
crazy.
than that.
A little bigger. Wow, crazy.
Good. And so Michael, getting away from the immediacy of Jenkins World, what's been your experience, you know, since July joining Cloudbees? Like, what do you specifically in dealing with customers or potential customers around their transformation?
That's a very good question. Actually, for meanwhile 14 years, I'm consulting big companies across Europe and supporting them on their way to implement DevOps, right? So actually, moving to Cloudbees in July, I just switched the perspective. And I'm very happy to join this great company with so many smart guys. So it's really a pleasure for me and an honor.
Good for that, Eric. I wasn't kidding when I said you give a lot of your time to the community, but you know what, you've been at Cloudbees now how long?
2 years.
And what's your experience? Again, moving away from the immediacy of Jenkins World this week, but you know, what's been your experience as part of working with Cloudbees and interacting with the Jenkins community and the DevOps community?
So, you know, my history comes from some smaller companies and doing a lot of DevOps transformations, and that was really helped enable me to work well at Cloudbees in the larger enterprise. But it's really interesting to see. You see so much of enterprise that has been, doing the same thing, or the ITIL or the waterfall for so long, and they're truly understanding the value of DevOps, and now they're getting their sea legs, right? They're trying to understand where to invest their time, where to invest their resources. You see a lot of focus in cloud transformation, and a lot of things, and it's interesting. You even see as they try to do new things in DevOps, you'll see the old way coming in, right? For example, with a client who may want to spin up some resources in AWS, like, oh, well, tell me what network, and I'll go get the network guy to go do it in AWS, and the storage guy in AWS, and the EC2 guy in AWS. Well, that's not necessarily the ideal situation for automation, right? Having all those old way of doing things. So it's really neat to see how the enterprise is truly understanding the value of getting that fast feedback and getting their products out. I think it's also a pressure from competition, right, in these days, that they're really investing a lot into DevOps.
Excellent, excellent. So guys, let's bring it back now to Jenkins World today while we're here. There is, I think there's something about like 2,000 attendees this year. Overwhelming majority people going through, DevOps transformations. They run the gamut of people who are just kicking off kind of their Cloudbees or Jenkins experiences to people who have been doing it for years now and are kind of experts. Where would you, when I look at it as an analyst, member of the media, and where do you think we are on this transformation journey as a market? We've seen numbers that really probably 10% or less of companies are fully DevOps, right? They're DevOps or organizational wide. Where do you think that's about right? What do you think?
So I think this year the market understands more and more what DevOps is and its benefits, right? So as you know, I've written a DevOps book 5 years ago and described what, in my opinion, at least DevOps makes up, and that was really hard to discuss with companies back then, consulting. What DevOps means, what are its benefits, and nowadays, look, talk to those guys here, right? So everybody has this spirit and mood and want to improve their own processes and look out for better tools, Jenkins, Cloudbees tools, to implement them, to integrate them to the ecosystem, to existing systems in the companies, just to be even more productive, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's the case at the moment, and it will continue actually.
Mm-hmm. Great. Eric, what about you?
Yeah. You know, one thing I found out reading books like Jez Humble's Continuous Delivery or The Phoenix Project by Gene Kim, and oftentimes I think not just me but other companies, they understand DevOps at a high level, right? But when it comes to practical examples of doing this in the real world, it's extremely difficult. Even in a vacuum, it would be difficult, but in most cases, they've got years and years of history that they've got to wear off. Yeah. So I hope and I believe that the community will be the strongest push towards helping people understand practical, real-world examples of how to execute, continuous integration, continuous delivery, in their environment.
Perfect. Guys, we're almost out of time, but I got one thing I want each of you to do. I want you to look right into this camera right here. Okay. And I want you to tell people why you get juiced and jazzed about Jenkins World. What makes it great to you? Mm-hmm.
Go ahead,
go first, Mike.
Yeah.
In your middle, yeah.
Jenkins World is the best DevOps conference in the world, ever.
Okay. Yeah. Eric?
Now, I love it because I get to actually put a name to a face oftentimes. I get to meet with, not just learn a lot at the conferences, but meet with a lot of coworkers and friends and talk about real world problems and solutions. I would say I get as much in the hallways and in the little meetings than I do at the big sessions and things like that.
Absolutely, amen. Me too. Hey guys, thanks for appearing. Mm-hmm. This is Alan Schimmel at Jenkins World for DevOps TV and DevOps.com. Thanks everyone.